What's up, YouTube? We're back at it again with another awesome coating video, but you're not gonna believe what we put epoxy over this time. All right, so day one, we got some of the crew out here today. I got Trey behind the camera, usually James. James ain't here. So Trey's jumping on the camera like a pro. Flip that around, say what's up.
What's up?
So here's the deal with that. Trey's not a pro, so we're gonna be filming this raw. It's probably gonna have to adjust stuff. He's just gonna tell me if we need to stop, whatever. We're trying to get the best footage we can for you guys. So anyways, day one, that's kind of where we're at. We got Alex here, we got John here, I'm here. Kyle's gone also, but that's all right, we still keep moving. So this is a cool project. We are gonna be doing epoxy over granite countertops. We got John. Say what's up, John.
Say hi, John. Hey, hi.
We're gonna pop the doors off, right? Same thing with these fake ones right here. Screw and screw, we'll pop these out, we'll number them. That way we know where they go, and when we screw them back in, they'll line up exactly like they were. Obviously, we're gonna plastic all the cabinets, right? Plastic all these cabinets, and we'll just kind of get started, just prepping, plasticking, getting everything covered that we could potentially get dust on, and then we're gonna jump into prepping the granite, right? We have some really cool ways to prep granite countertops. And so what I did behind me on this little section here is I prepped this section like we're gonna do the whole countertop, and this is how you should prep granite. And then over here I'm gonna demonstrate what a palm sander and sandpaper does, right? It doesn't really do anything to the surface. And the reason we like to prep it like this is because now this is a porous surface, just like you would have a porous surface if you shot blasted concrete. What that's gonna do is allow the coating that we're gonna put on it to permanently weld and soak into this granite surface, eliminating chips, minimizing chips. And so think of it like a sponge, right? A sponge are super absorbent. Once we get past this polished, sealed surface, we have a super porous surface now, and that's what we're trying to achieve on the whole countertop. All this granite, we're trying to get it really porous to where our coatings can lock into it. And so what I'll do is a simple example. I'm gonna palm sand this spot. We have, I think it's 80 grit on here. I'll palm sand a spot and you'll see it really doesn't do anything. Pressing really hard, right? Still has a high sheen to it, right? Didn't really do anything. And now what I'll do is I'll dump water on this. It's gonna bead up. I'll dump water on the spot that we prepped, and it's gonna wanna soak in. It's gonna darken the granite up. So see how it darkens it right back up? See how light and dull it is? Soaks in. And then if I just pour a little out on this side, get you a little pile here. See how it just beads up? Pour a little bit over here. It's gonna just immediately soak in and darken that surface because it's super porous versus sealed and polished, not porous at all. That pool of water is just sitting on the top, right? Not soaking in at all. This is just soaking right in. And so the tools that we're gonna use, similar tools to what you prep concrete with. Well, exact tools is what you prep concrete with. We got a 4-inch grinder here, cup wheel. We got a 4-inch one here, and this is on a dust shroud. You can get all this stuff at Home Depot, Lowe's, even Harbor Freight sells these dust shrouds. We got the big dog here for grinding the top. This thing will eat right through this granite, create that super porous profile. You hit the top with the big one, and then we hit the faces with the small one with the dust shroud. And then basically I did this half, right? So this half is all prepped. Edges, the face, right? The corners are rounded. So there's no sealer on this, and there's no polished granite on this piece right here. And so that's what we're looking for. Cool little tip for you. Get a lot of use out of these dust shrouds, even when the bristles go bad. Now we should have a good suction seal for the vacuum to collect that dust. So there it is, all about the right tools, right? So we're able to scuff, get past that polished surface, the sealers that were on here. What do you think, Trey? 20 minutes to grind the top? So really, really fast when we're using cup wheels, concrete cup wheels. You know, those are designed to grind through concrete. You know, concrete's like a stone, similar stuff. And so tops are done. Now we're gonna do the faces, the corners, right? We wanna scuff everything up. And that's where these little guys are gonna come into play. And then I'll probably have Alex take that other vacuum, because again, this is only like an inch wide. That shroud's like 4-5 inches wide. So I'll have him go along with me, because again, we're trying to always minimize shooting dust up in the air. All right, so now we're gonna run the 4-inch on the faces, and then Alex is gonna come by with that other vacuum, because like I was saying, see how wide this is? It's not gonna exactly collect the dust like we would like, and so he's just gonna have the vacuum right here, getting anything that's coming out with the other vacuum. So that's the process on the faces. We'll finish up these faces, and then what we do on these corners, you can hit the corners with the angle grinder, but to be a little more careful, we just use the flapper discs, metal flapper discs, and it'll take that off too and scuff it up just as nice, and it's less prone to like catching an edge or chipping it. And so this is, I think, a 40 grit metal flapper disc. These work awesome. So the next step we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be doing epoxy directly over the granite. What that's gonna do is that's gonna allow the resin to soak into the granite now that it's porous, and basically permanently lock itself to the granite countertop. And so if something does chip or break in the future, it's gonna have a chunk of granite stuck to it because this is fused together now. Now, could we just prime over? Absolutely, we'll get an amazing bond still, but we won't get as good a bond as putting epoxy directly over it. That's gonna sit there longer, it's gonna soak in longer, right? Primer dries pretty quick, and so it doesn't soak in as deep. So we're gonna get an amazing bond by putting epoxy directly over this porous granite. Never carry a bucket over someone's head unless you're a pro. So it doesn't have to look pretty, right? This is just, we're just trying to seal up those pores, let that resin soak into that porous granite. Just trying to roll it out thin everywhere. That way we don't have to deal with drips tomorrow and sand a bunch of drips. And since we're doing brown tones over this counter, we just pigmented this coat with milk chocolate. Get a little better hide. All right, so day 2, what we're doing right now is scraping any of the drips, right, from that first epoxy coat. Alex is just running his blade under there. It makes it really nice when you're scraping on granite, because you're not gonna accidentally dig into the wood and screw something up, right? They just get them nice and straight and cut. And so we're doing that. Next thing we're gonna do is sand the top. I'll be honest, I don't remember if I de-shed. I don't think I de-shedded the roller. That's on me. So we have a lot of hairs. But one thing, when you're doing thin coats of epoxy like this, it's gonna tend to pull more roller hairs out, and even if you do de-shed it, because you're doing it so thin and it's sticky. And so if you can, use a foam roller for doing that thin coat of epoxy to kind of seal up the granite, and then you obviously won't have roller hairs, right? And so, but not a big deal. We're gonna just buzz it with 120 grit really quick. That'll knock down any of the burrs. We'll wipe it, and then that's pretty much good as far as prep. And then the next thing we have to do is we obviously, you know, dam up our edges, and we can talk about that when we get to that point. But yeah, so for right now, we got to build a catch basin. We got to tape off plastic and tape the floor. And then once we have all that done, retape the backsplash, we'll get into taping our faces. Or actually we got to prime first, let that dry. But again, I'll talk about that when we get to that point.